Cowboys Nation. Every once in a while, the league gives us one of those moments that feels like it came out of nowhere. A storyline that just drops on the timeline long after everyone already moved on, and that is exactly what happened this week. Because out of absolutely nothing, the Arizona Cardinals decided to drag up a play from almost 3 full weeks ago and act like it was some kind of crime against football. It was wild seeing a team that had already packed that matchup into the rearview mirror suddenly jump back onto social media pointing fingers and trying to make noise over something that has been happening in this sport since the first defensive lineman ever learned how to create leverage. The whole thing caught people off guard simply because nobody in the league expected a rookie cornerback to run to social media weeks later and try to get the league office involved over a routine physical rep. And when I say routine, I mean the kind of physicality that happens on nearly every drive in football at any level. Yet somehow, here we are, with Arizona acting like they discovered the eighth wonder of the world. The play in question was simple: ball snapped, play flowing. And on the left side of the formation, you see Tyler Gidden firing out with that power he has been building all season. And instead of Arizona tipping their cap and saying they got beat on that rep, their rookie decided to pull his phone out weeks later and complain to the league like somebody stole his lunch. That alone tells you how hard that block must have landed. Because nobody waits that long to complain unless they are still feeling it when they get out of bed in the morning. And honestly, watching the rep again only makes the outrage funnier. Tyler did exactly what he has been coached to do. He got hands, got leverage, got movement, and finished through the whistle. It was aggressive, no doubt. But it was also textbook trench football. Nothing late, nothing dirty, nothing hidden from the officials. The referee was standing right there, staring directly at the rep. And if the referee sees it from 2 yards away and keeps the flag in his pocket, there is your answer right there. The outrage is not about rule breaking. It is about pride. What makes all of this even more ironic is that Tyler Gidden has spent this entire season taking steps forward, stacking good performances, and turning into the type of player the Cowboys hoped he would become. He had a couple rough reps early, sure, but since then he has been one of the most consistent bright spots in the trenches. He has been stronger at the point of attack, quicker with his hands, calmer with his footwork, and way more confident in how he finishes plays. This particular rep was just the most dramatic example, because it ended with the defender getting sent backwards like a crash test dummy. And instead of owning that rep and moving on, Arizona chose the softest option imaginable. It was embarrassing to watch an NFL player try to turn a physical block into a scandal, especially when everyone knows this happens dozens of times every Sunday. And then, as if the initial complaint was not already unnecessary, another Arizona player jumped in trying to make it sound like something outrageous was happening. That was even more confusing because anyone who has watched their defense over the years knows they are not strangers to laying down hits that send guys flying. For them to pretend this was some foreign level of physicality felt like pure emotion talking. Meanwhile, the Cowboys players saw the whole thing and immediately treated it like the joke it was. They laughed it off, responded with memes, and basically told the Cardinals to quit the crying. The entire situation turned into a perfect snapshot of the difference in mentality between these teams right now. What excites Cowboys fans about this is not the drama itself, but what it represents. For years, Dallas has been on the receiving end of moments like this. Moments where their linemen get walked backward. Moments where they get overpowered by tougher fronts. Moments where opposing teams push them around and nobody on the roster pushes back. And this season, you can feel that identity shifting. There is a sharper edge. There is a different attitude. You can see it in how the linemen finish blocks, how the defensive front hustles, how guys swarm to the ball, how they react when somebody tries to come at them sideways. They are finally stepping into that physical brand of football fans have been begging for. And having an opposing team try to label them as the physical is the best compliment they could ever receive. Nobody is saying that one block means a championship is coming. Nobody is pretending that a single rep turns the Cowboys into unstoppable giants. But what it does show is that this team is starting to play with a level of force and conviction they have lacked in several previous seasons. When you start winning in the trenches, when you start dictating the tone, when your players are the ones driving defenders instead of being driven, that is when things begin to shift. Tyler Gidden has been one of the clearest examples of that shift. Every week he has been coming out and proving that the work he put in during the offseason was not for show. He owned his flaws. Attack them and turn them into strengths, and maybe that is what really bothers Arizona. Maybe they did not expect to get bullied on that rep. Maybe they underestimated the growth that has been happening in Dallas. Or maybe they just forgot that football is supposed to be a violent, physical, unforgiving sport played by grown men who know exactly what they signed up for. Either way, trying to retroactively call for help from the league office because an offensive lineman finished a block is something nobody expected to see from a professional locker room. And the fact that it took them nearly 3 full weeks to gather the courage to even mention it only made the whole situation even more laughable. This Cowboys team is building something. It may still be a work in progress, but you can feel the intensity rising. You can feel the hunger. You can feel the attitude shift. You can feel players taking criticism and using it as fuel. You can feel the front line finally refusing to be pushed around. And when a rival team is complaining because you hit them too hard 3 weeks ago, that means the identity you are trying to build is starting to show up on film, whether people like it or not. What really makes this whole situation even more entertaining is how the Cowboys locker room handled it once the post started making the rounds online. Instead of getting worked up or firing back with long explanations, they treated the whole thing exactly how it deserved to be treated. Like a bad joke that somehow wandered into the middle of the season uninvited. The reaction from the defensive guys said it all. They saw the clip, saw the complaints, and immediately started clowning the Cardinals for trying to turn a routine physical rep into a national emergency. You could almost feel the energy inside the locker room shift into this unified mindset of, if this is what opponents are complaining about now, we must be doing something right. And honestly, they are not wrong, because physical teams never have to explain themselves, only the teams getting knocked backwards tend to look for justification afterward. As for Tyler Gidden, the way he reacted made the moment even better. He did not get defensive, did not fire back with some long speech about technique, did not try to justify anything. He hit them with a simple question mark, the kind of reaction that practically screams, "Y'all serious right now?" It showed that he is comfortable with the way he is playing, confident in the work he has put in, and unbothered by defenders who cannot handle a tough rep in the trenches. And that kind of confidence rubs off on the entire offensive line when one guy starts playing with that type of edge. Everyone else begins stepping into the same energy. You see it in how they line up, how they finish blocks, how they attack the run game, how they keep their quarterback upright. A physical line creates a physical offense, and a physical offense creates a completely different identity for the entire team. Cowboys fans have been waiting for something like this for a long time. The franchise has had years where the offense looked explosive but lacked toughness. Other years where the defense looked fast but struggled to stand up to brute strength. This season, even with flaws still present, you can finally see the emergence of a more balanced identity. Speed is still there, talent is still there, but now there is a willingness to hit back, to fight through contact, to answer physicality with even more physicality. The tone has changed. You can feel it in the way players talk after games, in the way they react to wins and losses, in the way they approach preparation. They are done being the team that gets pushed around. They want to be the ones delivering the blow. And this whole situation with Arizona only reinforces that the Cowboys are starting to make opponents uncomfortable, because let us be honest, teams do not complain about finesse teams. They complain about the ones that hit too hard, finish too strong, or refuse to back down. That is what Dallas is becoming, even if they are not fully there yet. The progress is showing. You can track it from training camp, where the intensity picked up. You can track it through the early weeks of the season, where players were getting an extra work without being asked. You can track it in the consistency that has started to appear along the line of scrimmage, especially in guys like Tyler, who made it a mission to erase old mistakes and build something better. The best part of watching this team evolve is seeing players take pride in their development. Tyler is the perfect example. He heard every piece of criticism from last season. He heard the jokes, the doubts, the concerns about whether he could hold his own in this league. Instead of pretending he did not hear any of it, he used it, he dug into it, he studied, he trained, he took full responsibility for the weaknesses in his game, and now, week after week, you can see the payoff. His base is stronger, his anchor is firmer. His hands are more violent, his timing is sharper. That does not happen by accident. That is the result of a player deciding he is done being a question mark and ready to become a problem for every defender who lines up in front of him. And watching an opponent try to paint him as dirty only highlights how dominant some of his reps have become. That is what happens when growth becomes undeniable. When a player reaches a point where the tape says one thing and emotions say another, the ones getting beat will always look for an excuse, but the tape never lies. And the tape shows a player who is getting better in real time and refusing to apologize for playing the game the way it was meant to be played. But this is not just about Tyler. This is about what his mentality represents for the entire roster. The Cowboys have been trapped for years in this cycle where every setback gets magnified. Every misstep becomes a talking point, and every physical loss turns into another reminder of past failures. This season feels different because players are no longer folding under that weight. They are pushing back, sometimes literally. They are embracing the idea that if the league wants to label them as villains for playing hard, then so be it. There is strength in that identity. There is unity in it. And there is power in a roster that collectively decides. We are done being polite about physical football. Even the fan base feels that shift. Cowboys fans are some of the most loyal and passionate in the country, but they have endured decades of highs followed by heartbreaks that felt avoidable, and to see the team finally firing back, finally setting the tone, finally refusing to be the softer side of a matchup, it sparks something. It makes every game feel bigger. It makes every drive feel heavier. It makes every hit feel like a message, and when opponents start crying about those hits weeks later, that message becomes even clearer. That is why this whole saga with the Cardinals has turned into more than just a funny moment. It is a landmark of where this team is headed. You have a young offensive lineman stepping into his role as an enforcer. You have a locker room backing him up without hesitation. You have fans celebrating the attitude. And you have opponents scrambling to cope with the physicality. That is exactly the recipe for a team that is tired of being doubted and ready to reintroduce itself to the league. And yes, there is still a long season ahead. Yes, there are weaknesses that must be fixed. Yes, consistency remains the biggest challenge. But the foundation being built right now is the type of foundation that winning teams depend on. Toughness travels, physicality holds up in cold weather, strength survives adversity. And a team that is no longer afraid to hit back is a team that nobody wants to face when the stakes get high. So if the Cardinals want to complain, let them complain. If they want to dig up plays from weeks ago, let them dig. If they want to point fingers because one of their players got driven into the turf, let them point. Because every moment they spend whining is another reminder that the Cowboys are no longer the ones getting bullied. They are the ones delivering the hits, setting the tone, and forcing opponents to react. And that shift, more than anything else happening right now, is what makes this Dallas team dangerous in a way fans have been waiting to see for a very long time. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. In the world of the NFL, rumors are swirling that could shake the very foundation of the league's defensive landscape. Whispers from sources close to the Cowboys front office suggest that the team is making an audacious push to sign none other than Aaron Donald, the defensive titan whose presence alone can redefine a pass rush if true. This move would signal Dallas's intent to transform its defensive identity overnight and reignite conversations about the team as a Super Bowl contender. Donald, known for his unmatched explosiveness and relentless pursuit of quarterbacks, has long been the gold standard for interior defensive linemen. His ability to collapse pockets and disrupt defensive schemes has earned him multiple Defensive Player of the Year honors, and the prospect of him patrolling the Cowboys' front line has fans and analysts buzzing with speculation. Sources hint that negotiations have been intense, with Dallas reportedly offering a package designed to lure the superstar into a system that could amplify his already staggering impact. The mere thought of pairing Donald with the Cowboys' existing talent has stirred imaginations across the league. How would offensive coordinators adjust when facing a front that suddenly features one of the most fearsome interior pass rushers of this generation? The potential domino effect on the team's draft, strategy, and defensive schemes could be massive, prompting questions about how Dallas plans to leverage this star power to pressure quarterbacks and control games from the trenches. Insiders suggest that the Cowboys see this as more than just a short-term boost. Acquiring a player of Donald's caliber could serve as a signal to the rest of the league that Dallas is serious about reclaiming defensive dominance and shaking off past inconsistencies. Fans have taken to social Media with a mixture of excitement and incredulity, imagining the havoc a revitalized pass rush could wreak in critical moments of the season. While nothing is official yet, the buzz is impossible to ignore. Analysts are speculating on the contract details, the potential impact on team chemistry, and the ways coaches might build around Donald's unique skill set. Even the mention of his name alongside the Cowboys has reinvigorated conversations that had grown stale, turning every casual fan into a self-proclaimed armchair GM pondering the possibilities. The league may be bracing for a seismic shift, one that could redefine matchups and alter expectations for years to come. The Cowboys' pursuit of Aaron Donald, if true, is more than a signing, it's a statement, and while the details remain shrouded in mystery, the rumor alone has created a whirlwind of speculation, debate, and anticipation. One thing is certain, the NFL offseason just got a lot more intriguing. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.